Welcome to my channel, guys. I can't believe I'm the one saying welcome to my channel. I finally joined the YouTube community.
Tell me now, I need you to be clear. I will wait for you, I will wait for you.
So today we're going to talk about IELTS. This IELTS that is stressing people, everybody that wants to jackpot. Okay, not everybody, depending on the country you want to go to. But we're going to break down IELTS, the types of IELTS, and how all my IELTS exams went. Yes, I know it is crazy, but I've written IELTS twice. Not because I failed the first one, but because back before university, I wrote the IELTS academic for schooling purposes. And then after school, I wrote the IELTS academic for nursing jackpot immigration purposes. Yes, I'm a big girl. You can say that. Anyways, there are three types of IELTS. The IELTS academic, which is mostly written for a higher education, like I said, to go for schooling, masters. Most of the time you write IELTS academic. And then there's IELTS general training. And this general training is mostly for work purpose or immigration purpose. And then there's IELTS life skills. This one is mostly for UK. It's called IELTS UK VI, meaning IELTS visas and immigration. So the UK VI own doesn't concern us. Nursing immigration own. The immigration own, that's general training. Yes, it concerns us nurses sometimes. But know that whichever IELTS you want to write mostly depends on the country's choice you're going to. I always say this. Check your requirements. Check the requirements of the country or the organization you want to go and work with. Some of them have their preferences. But generally for UK and Canada, sometimes they mostly prefer nurses to write the IELTS academic exam. So we've gotten the types of IELTS out of the way. Now let's talk about my IELTS experience. The first time, I think this was in 2019. Yes, 2019. I wrote the IELTS in my 100 level trying to go to a better country for undergrad purposes. And then this exam, I wasn't so tensed about it. I just thought it was, because I wrote the SAT. If you know about school a lot, you know about SAT exams. And then I now wrote IELTS again. And that time, I think I scored a 6.5 or a 6 or 7 or thereabouts. And then I couldn't jackpot again. I stayed in Nigeria and finished my university. And I didn't read at all. And I scored a 6.5. I was just watching YouTube videos till the day of the exam for 1 week. I think I studied for just about a week. So now fast forward to after school, full-blown nurse, time to jackpot as a skilled worker. I wrote the IELTS again last year, 2024 December. But this time I studied for a period of about 3 months. I was studying passively for like 1 month and then 6 weeks to the IELTS. I now started reading and practicing. I didn't join any group. I'm not a group person. I'll talk about that in another video, about knowing what works for you and doing exactly what will work for you. So I finished all the practice questions in the British Council website. You know, you can register with British Council or register with IDP. But I did with the British Council. It was easier for me. Maybe IDP may be better, but this is where I was. After practicing, I felt I said, honestly speaking, during my practice era, like I wasn't passing. Like I wasn't getting 8, 8.5, 8, 8.5. I was getting 6.5, 7, 7.5 at most, especially for practicing the reading and listening. You know, reading and listening, they will mark it for you. But with the writing and speaking, you have to either get the, what do you call it? You have to get the working scheme or the marking scheme. You get the marking scheme they'll give you the marking scheme and you mark it yourself. Then if you want more premium service where someone watches you talk or marks your work, you pay extra fee. So this is the one I was doing. And I am the kind of person I am. We'll talk about that in another video. Anyways, I studied, I prayed to God. I said, God, this IELTS, I'll write it once. My sister wrote IELTS and she got 8.5. And she wrote the general training to immigrate to Canada. So me now writing academic nursing. Well, it's not like the academic is more hard. It's just more academic. They just give you more syllables that have to do with academic things to make sure that you can succeed well. You can succeed well in an academic setting. Anyways, the exam day came. I watched a video on IELTS Advantage. My people, the people that helped me pass IELTS, and they said, make sure the day before your exam, don't read, don't stress yourself that day. Sleep well, eat dinner well. When you wake up, have breakfast or whatever works for you, and you go to the exam hall. So that day, I woke up, I ordered my ride, I went to Maitama, the IELTS, the British Council office. I arrived there like 7:30-ish. And by the time we got there, there was a beautiful garden. We were all sitting down waiting. And then after like 45 minutes to an hour, someone came in and said, okay, we can start coming in. And as we're coming in, they were saying, hope you have your passport handy because it's your passport you will use. And then I had my own. And when we got to the place where they were verifying your passport, because they will, after they call you in, they'll verify your passport is authentic and get your thumbprint and make sure it's you. There was this lady, very calm looking, peaceful girl. And when they said, bring out your passport, that was when she realized that her passport was not with her. It was as if my heart was coming out of my chest, as if it was me. I was so scared. And she wasn't, will I say she wasn't so scared, or she was just more composed. But I was looking at her like, how did you forget your passport? And this is another reason why I always advise people that if you know you have an exam today or tomorrow, make sure you gather everything you need. And then that day, like my parents always say, get to the event 2 hours or even 3 hours before your flight, or now in this case, your exam. And the good thing is the British Council staffs, they were very, very nice. They just told her, is there anybody at home that can send this thing for you? You have about 25 minutes. We can set you in as the last person. Just make sure everything comes in on time. And back and forth, to the glory of God. I went in before the passport came in, but I later saw her in the exam hall, meaning her passport came. Glory to God in the highest. Anyways, I sat down, I wrote I think the first one was the listening test, and then the second one was reading, and then writing. And it all went well. This is something I always say I won't tell my clients. That's the people I mentor for the IELTS exam. But the IELTS exam is way more easier than whatever practice test you would practice. I don't know if it's on purpose or if it was just for me, but it was very easy. Anyways, it being easy doesn't mean you will get 9 over 9. But that's by the way. And after all of this, my speaking test was supposed to be in the afternoon. And then the first 3 sets were in the morning. So after writing, I went back out. I was feeling hungry. And then I ordered something to eat because there was going to be like a 3-hour gap. So I waited. And 1 hour later, after my food had come and I was trying to eat in the garden, they now called my name, because they'll come out, call your name and come in. And immediately they called my name, I started shaking. And I thought there was something wrong with the exam. And they said, are you up for it now? Your speaking examiner is ready. Mind you, this was like 2 minutes to 1. I was supposed to take that exam by 3 o'clock. I was shaking. That's all I will say. I consider myself a very bold person, but that day I was teary, I was shaking. And then they said, are you ready? Don't worry, just go, you're ready. I said, okay, because I was trying to hurry for a wedding that day, it was Saturday. And then I went upstairs and I was waiting outside the door. I could hear the first candidate talking with the examiner. And I was just shaking. You could literally see my hands shaking. Then the lady there was just saying, just calm down. Don't worry, everything will be fine. And I was like, I did all my breathing techniques that day. But when I entered, the examiner was a black British woman. She was well nicely dressed. She looked very calm, although she looked strict. And then she started talking, said, what's your name? I'm this and this. And we started. The first part went well. In fact, some answers I was giving her, she was now nodding, saying, my mind out. But I was still shaking. Then the second part, the 2-minute speaking part, the long section, when that one started, I didn't have so much idea about what the topic was, but I started talking. And then when I exhausted everything in my mind, I kept quiet. And then she asked me another question to follow up on that second section. And that was when, in my mind, I knew I had fucked up. Mind my language. Anyways, from that time, I was just demoralized. And I can't remember what I was saying out loud, but I knew that time, man, I don't even know how to put it. But from that time, she'll just ask me something and I'll just answer her. And then she said, okay, we're done with part 2. Because I knew that when they interrupt you, or when they try to ask you something in your second section, it means you've been talking for a short time and you've not reached your 2-minute mark or over. So after all that period, we ended it, but I was so scared. And the part 3 came, and she asked me some questions in part 3. And I think what happened in part 2 affected my part 3's response. But I answered, and at some point she would nod and smile to encourage me, because she knew that I was already shaking. And I finished the speaking test, and I came out and started crying. And I called the people I was calling were not even answering me because we were in a wedding. I messaged my brother and I said, this is what happened. He said, don't worry, just calm down and everything will be fine. Funny how in this whole speaking exam, I scored a 7.5 in my IELTS, and my highest point was in speaking. Can you imagine, after all the tears? And the first 3 that I thought I did really good, well, my listening and writing, it was writing that was the lowest. Writing was like a 7 or 6.5. And then the others were 7.5 or thereabouts. And let me just end this video here. But that was my IELTS speaking, my IELTS experience, and I hope this helps somebody. Mind you, I just want to put it out there that if you didn't know now that I offer IELTS mentorship program for people, nurses, non-nurses. I have learned so much more now, having trained and guided so many more nurses with this IELTS exam. So know that it is not a class, it is a guiding section where I will be telling you things you should be reading on, give you all the materials that you need. I'll guide you in the right direction. I'll hold you accountable. That's where my own mentorship program is special than other classes. Other classes, you come, you don't come, you be in the group chat or not. But this one is always one-on-one, where we'll have personal speaking sessions. I will guide you and I will help you mark your writing sessions to the best of my knowledge and following IELTS British Council workbook. So if you're interested, DM me. Our phone number will be on the screen, and let us know where we can come in. Bye.